can you introduce yourself for us?
My name is Anthony Washington. I'm 41 years old. I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I'm here to talk about animal therapy.
And what age did you first get interested in dogs?
It was around 9 years old. I got my first old family red-nosed pit bull from my uncle, and named him Baby Butch. From there, I was attracted to the dogs and how they make me feel.
So, what got you interested in the dogs to begin with?
Um, I really wasn't interested in the dogs. It just kind of fell in my lap and just came a part of my life at a early age. And the culture that I grew up around, and in the inner city, a lot of the African American males, they walked around with the dogs. It was, for me, it was a sense of status. Seeing the dogs, locking on ropes. I remember one incident that I could never get out of my head as a youth, from my youth. A guy by the name of Kelsey, he had a dog named Popeye. I remember, you know, they're parading him down the middle of the street, Killingsworth, and I just thought that was just like the best thing ever. It was like this dog was a superhero. So from there, I was like, man, I would like to be involved with that type of, activity, or I want my dog to be able to hold on to something so long that I can carry him around.
So, you mentioned your dogs are used for animal therapy. Was there ever a time in the years that you've been working with dogs that you saw dogs differently and used them differently than how you're using them now?
Yeah, well, around 9 years old, when I got the dog kind of fell into our family structure. I spent a lot of time with the dog. Um, I didn't have a male in the household, no father figure, so it was my way to escape and to connect with something at an early age, and it kind of gave me security. Um, as I started spending a lot of time with the dog, and I think that right there developed into my first, you know, like bonding experience.
So, pit bulls tend to have a stigma attached to them. And what is it about a pit bull that you love so much?
Well, now looking at it, um, before I never could identify um, the connection, and for me, it's simply it's the African American um, breed. Um, how society look at African Americans. For example, if we're walking down the street and we look in a certain type of way, we have a certain type of makeup, hairstyle, a certain type of clothing, swag about yourself. The dog also gets stereotyped that way. Um, People tend to walk across the street, fear of this dog because they they stereotype it. So that connection with African American males and the American Pit Bull Terrier kind of go hand in hand with me. So I'm like, okay, I can empathize for this breed because people stereotype the dog,
Mm.
and people stereotype African American males. So so that became a bond for me. I'm like, I can I can be empathetic to what this dog is going through, or how this dog could be feeling, because I'm feeling the same way, because I'm being viewed and looked at the same way from society.
And now you're using pit bulls to work with younger people, but was there ever a time in your life when you used pit bulls or were involved with dog fighting, because as we know that there's also a lot of media hype and attention surrounding pit bulls and them being used in a negative manner.
Unfortunately, I was. Around that time, when I first got the dog, I was also introduced um, to dog fighting by coming to watch, coming to assist in cleaning up and the preparation of the fighting pits. I had no idea that this dog was also can be used for showing for all sorts of different sports, um, animal therapy, um, guide dogs, etc., etc. I just thought it was just this small little culture of you have a pit bull, you fight it, which is you have a pit bull, you abuse it, because that's what was going on. That you know they was fighting the dogs. Now doing reading and going all the way back and checking out the different bloodlines. You have so many bloodlines that's named after a lot of almost all Caucasian, white descendants, coming from different, you know, um, places around the world. They either came to America or they had these dogs and they named them uh, these bloodlines after their last names. And I can go into it one by one, but it's not necessary. Um, Now looking at it, I frown upon it, and now I empathize. It's a big part of my development, having victim empathy, um, because the American Pit Bull is a victim of human brutality and the whole enjoyment of having a sport. So, do they have the makeup? Yes, they do have the makeup. They do have the makeup to be one of the most feared, one of the best fighting dogs. They do. It was bred into them. Every dog have a purpose. Everything have a purpose in life. And unfortunately, the American Pit Bull Terrier is is a fighting dog.
But at this stage in your life, how you feel about animal abuse and dog fighting, you frown upon it. And if a young man were to come to you and talk to you about that, you would educate him in why you wouldn't want to do that. So what do you do and how do you use the dogs now with the youth?
So so what I do, I try to educate and try to try to give the young men materials, reading materials, video footage, YouTubes, and where they can first go into this knowing the good, bad, and ugly about the American Pit Bull Terrier. First of all, because they have to know what to breed to and what not to breed to if they're going to be breeding or if they're going to be purchasing a dog. Now, you can purchase something that's been inbreded or it has been so tightly bred that this dog is genetically, made up to fight. Then you can have another bloodline on the other hand that is bred genetically to be more passive and more submissive and more trainable when when taking them into the show
So,
or for animal therapy.
well, you're talking about breeding and dog shows. Do you have your own bloodline? And if you do, how many years do you have in it? And what is the name of your bloodline?
Um, the name of my bloodline is Grayskull. We tried. I started out with a dog named Nevada Grayskull. I was the second owner. I looked up on it and just happened to buy this dog and happened to get the papers. And 16 years later, here I am now, and I'm trying to spread the bloodline into a right direction. I don't breed for fighting. I don't breed for the game sport. Um, I I try to breed for emotional support dog, animal therapy. Is my dog certified? No. Do I think they have to be certified, or do a dog have to be certified to be an animal therapy dog or um, something of that sort? No. I don't believe that. Um, um, Simply because anyone can have an animal, a horse, a dog, um, even fishes to that point. And if it makes you feel um, some type of joy, give you some type of closure, or some type of sense of hope, and it kind of relieves you from the stresses and anxiety of everyday living. There you have it. There, once you start bonding with an animal, for me, bonding with the dogs just simply brings out nature, no judging, um, just compassion.